All right, what's up, YouTube? This is a good one here. This is important. It's just a concept, but these are very important concepts that most people don't really think about. They don't really have. They're too distracted with everyday shit. Um, but this is something that everybody needs to hear. This needs to cross everybody's thought process at some point or another. Okay, this is a video that Nerve Gorilla posted. He's trying to be funny. I think he put something like "first time I showed my face" or something, right? Now it's not Nerve Gorilla, obviously, but if you couldn't hear the guy in the video, right, but you could read what he was saying, you'd think it was Nerve Gorilla because what the guy's saying is so very familiar. I mean, it's like so familiar, you know, it's almost like you've heard it before, right? Not something like it. I mean, like exactly what this guy's about to say. You've heard it before. I'll let you listen to some of it. I just think it's hilarious. But I'll stop. I'll stop it and chime in here.
Alright, so we talked about the logic and rationale and some of the absurdity behind all of these conspiracy theories, in particular the New World Order one. But now let's talk about the conspiracy theorists themselves. They're every bit as absurd and kooky as all these grandiose things they claim to believe. Now, here's the thing. First and foremost, there are not a lot of these people out there.
Here's the deal. Okay, there's not a lot of people out there like us. So right away, they want you to get the idea that it's not normal to think like this. Okay, there's not a lot of people out there like this. You can tell this whole thing is designed, right? Watch.
Granted, there's some, probably a whole lot more than you wish, but if you just kind of gauged everything you know about conspiracy theories by what you see on the internet, you would think that 98% of the planet is an Alex Jones supporter. When the reality is, no, it's not. They're actually a very small fringe community that have given themselves the illusion of prominence by incessant internet activity. More or less, these people are just nerds with no lives. They're trolls that sit around all day going on YouTube, thumbing down videos, and harassing others because it gives them the sensation of political or social activity.
Isn't it funny? Isn't that funny? I haven't seen any evidence to suggest that conspiracy theorists, as they like to call them, are doing anything what he just said. It's quite the opposite. I see people that are saying this shit. He's just, you know what I mean? He's projecting. He's literally saying what they do, what he does, and what Nerve Gorilla does online. That's all they do. Is they spend too much time online. They go around harassing it, people that speak the truth, people that are a threat. You know, they go out of their way and create videos that are designed clearly to influence other people who are maybe on the fence about something. Why would somebody even do that? You know what I mean? Why they're calling people liars is what they're doing. They're calling a bunch of people liars. I'm not calling anybody a liar. Like I'm not trying to. Um, I'm only saying that what I'm saying is happening. I'm calling out the people that are saying I'm a liar. And I'm saying, what? What makes you say that? You know, like I ask the right questions. So, what drove this guy to make this video? I would love to know what was it? Exactly. What was the straw that broke the camel's back, or what was the key thing at the time that made him say, you know what, I need to make a video about this subject. I need to do this because it needs to be done right. What made him go out of his way and take the time and effort to do this? Okay. Now you could just say he's just making a quick video bullshitting, right? But wait and see.
Um, so yeah, basically they have nothing better to do and they don't have anything else to do in their lives. Basically if you just take away the conspiracy theory. If you take away this whole NWO rabble rousing stuff from them, they don't have a point to their lives anymore. They're hopeless. What would they focus their time on? What would they have to believe in? Absolutely nothing. The fact of the matter is, if you wonder why people are into conspiracy theories, it's because they need them. It gives them a sense of heightened importance. It gives them an excuse for the failings of their own lives, and it helps them kind of mask their own miserableness. There's a great quote I found here from a guy who wrote from the New York Times named Roger Cohen, who says that
Roger
conspiracy
Cohen,
theories
really?
are the ultimate refuge of the powerless. And I am paraphrasing here. Because if you cannot change your own life, it must be that some greater force controls the world. And in that, you're seeing a lot of parallels between the whole conspiracy theory and hardcore religious communities. In fact, there's actually a lot of crossover.
Okay. So let's just point out something real quick here, something really important. Um, Now, obviously, a lot of TIs do blame their life and their problems on this, the program, right? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I still have the power of choice. I can get up. I can do anything I want. Go ahead and try to stop me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not blaming my situation like I'm in a shitty situation because of them. I'm not doing that. Not doing that at all. But I'm not going to deny their attempts. there that there's absolutely um, cooperative, cohesive collusion attempts to keep me down, shut me up, ensure that I don't, you know, that I don't succeed or I don't get access to certain opportunities that others do and shit like that. Yeah, but I'm not in that position because of that. There's still things I can do. I'm not powerless. So it's important to note the difference. There's people that just want to make excuses, right? And they blame the program for their problems, and they might not be wrong, but they still have the power of choice, and they still have a voice. They have things they can do, so they need to quit, blaming them for their problems and work more on fixing them rather than just bitching about them, right? So I don't bitch about my perps. I don't care. They make me laugh. I think they're funny. I just feel bad that they waste so much time and effort on me. Like for what? Like you waste a lot of time and effort this far. It's gotten you nowhere. What? It's actually backfired, if anything, if nothing else. But at what point do they give up? You know what I mean? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You can't just go all in like this. That's what these people do, though. These people in positions of power, right? In positions of authority, they don't fold because the power's gone to their head. Okay, they're not used to um, being met with you know somebody, a normal person with knowledge that has the ability to to overpower their authority that they're abusing. They're not used to that, so they abuse their authority all the time rather than just use it, when it's necessary, which is why they were given the authority to begin with. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Pretty smart guy said that. He's no longer alive, but he was a genius.
Crossover. I apologize. They pointed a DARPA missile at me and scrambled my brain, so I couldn't say it. Um,
See, there
but
he
we'll talk about that later.
mentions
So anyway,
DARPA.
before we start talking about conspiracy theorists and their social behaviors, let's talk about a guy named Max Weber. And he was a guy who came up with an idea called the three-component theory of stratification. And basically, what that means is humans in society, we're after three things. We're after class, status, and power. And when you look at that, and you look at these,
No, no, that's just misguided people, evil people, bad people, rotten people, right? Those are the people that are after class, status, and what was the other one? Wealth, class, status, and wealth, or something. Yeah, I don't care about any of those things. Not at all.
Conspiracy theorists, you realize something. Um, Conspiracy theorists are very, very marginalized people that don't have class, status, or power. They don't have money, they don't have popularity, and they have virtually zero social influence whatsoever. Um, so I think, really, in a lot of ways, all this conspiracy theory stuff is actually sort of a reaction to that marginalization process.
Wait. You just contradicted yourself there. So all of this conspiracy theorist stuff, he talks about it and refers to it, and decides to go out of his way to make a video about it, as if it's a problem that needs dealt with, right? But he's saying that none of these people are popular. Well, if that was the case, you wouldn't have to make this video. And you wouldn't be using words like, all this conspiracy theory stuff, right? All this conspiracy theory stuff, okay? Because there's enough people on the planet and enough information out there that when there is any kind of, what you consider a conspiracy theory, right? It doesn't live very long. It has a very short life because it gets debunked, okay? But the ones that withstand the test of time, that have been around for a long time and have not been debunked, okay? They claim, oh, well, we still haven't been able to prove this. Okay, well, that's because it's being suppressed on purpose. That's the whole point. How can we prove something that is literally meant to leave no proof? You know what I mean? The whole program is about discrediting and covering up shit. You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to get evidence of that? Like, seriously. And why would I have to convince everybody? Why would I lie about this? People do need to give some people more the benefit of the doubt and say less until they know more before jumping to mentally ill, okay? Because I don't think people realize the damage that they can cause by judging somebody and guessing and just not giving them the benefit of the doubt, not, you know what I mean? Not believing them, calling them a liar just because you don't want to believe what they're telling you. It's too hard for you to believe. So you're just gonna use cognitive dissonance and say, well, let's just call it mental illness, right? We just made that term up anyway, mental illness, right? What is mental illness, right? That that would suggest that your brain is ill, which means it's sick, and it's what happens when you're sick. If you don't get better, you die. Simple as that. In mental illness, there are mental illnesses out there that are, what's the word I'm looking for there? Deteriorating their, I can't think of the word right now, but they are known to only go one direction. You know, debilitating, right? They're debilitating, and it's measurable, right? With science, you can measure it with numbers and data. Okay, um, I don't know that much about brain scans and gray matter. Um, Not enough to I haven't looked into it really, but it doesn't seem like it's that much of a reviewed or explored subject in medicine for anybody to worry about, because medicine is one of the biggest industries in the world, and if they can make a test, where they can convince people to go get medical treatment, damn well there's going to be a test for it, right? Damn well they would have done it already. So the fact that there's no commercials about, oh, call this number, go get your brain scanned today. Maybe you need this or you need this medicine. You know what I mean? You don't see that, do you? Right? Why is that? It's because they can't do it. So you have to accept the possibility that the pharmaceutical industry, right, and certain corrupt powers that be um, have manipulated certain subjects, right, in order to cover up their crimes and in order to make more money, in order to deceive people and push them into right into their arms, into the healthcare industry where their people can then brainwash them some more, diagnose them with this and that. There's a bunch of disorders that did not exist 100 years ago, 50 years ago. They didn't exist. I'm not talking about, you know, ones we need to worry about. I'm talking about ones that have no measurable way to diagnose. It's just somebody's best guess based on, a profile, a group of, a set way of they look at psychology books and shit like that, and they can just put people into little categories based on how they think, how they answer questions, how they respond to certain things, right? That doesn't mean anything. It's just everybody's different. Everybody thinks different. You know, everybody perceives the world in a different way. So just because a certain group of people all said the same thing and put it in a book doesn't mean it's the right way. Okay? That's why I consider psychologists a pseudoscience, right? Maybe they're all wrong. Do you ever think of that? You know what I mean? Maybe the human species has been infected with with a flaw for a long time, and that's why our problems are exponential and have gotten worse and worse. And maybe the people like the conspiracy theorists or the people that you claim have a mental illness, maybe they're the healthy ones. Did you ever think of that? It doesn't just because most people think a certain way doesn't mean it's the right way. You have to remember that, you know. It's the minority of people that had made the biggest differences throughout history. Remember that. The biggest things that you learn throughout history, and hardly any of them was because a majority of people felt a certain way or thought a certain way or did a certain thing. No, it's because a very, very small minority of people had the courage to say what a lot of people were thinking but too scared to say. And the fact that he says there's really not a lot of people out there. There's not a lot of conspiracy theorists. Why? How does he know? How does he know? Like? Does he have some kind of special sight, special vision that he can see these things that you can't? Like you're no different than him. Why can't you see things just the same way he can? Why would you need this guy to tell you that? And why would you trust it if he said that? I would be skeptical of him, and I would ask, what made you make this video, dude? Okay, so keep watching.
That's kind of their way of giving themselves an individual power source through a secret knowledge that others don't have, particularly the mainstream culture, which they have an unabashed hatred of because they feel left out. More or less, that's kind of why.
No, I
Unless they
don't
have like
hate the
some
mainstream.
really deep seated political or religious extremism, which is probably the case, but like I said, more on that later.
So
So when you look at guys
extreme.
like Alex Jones, and you look at guys like the Zeitgeist movement, and you look at guys like David Icke, after a while you
David
realize
Ikes.
that these
David
guys are
Ikes.
pretty much nothing more than secular televangelists. The same as guys like
There's a reason David Ikes is banned from 26 different countries. Banned. And not because he did anything, but because of what he says and what he has spoken out about. He's banned from 26 different countries. He's never actually caused any actual violence or any riots or anything like that, anything of the sort. So it begs into question, what are they so afraid of happening from him, speaking his mind to people? what the hell would happen? What's going to happen if people if everybody just believes David Icke's that what he says, that we're all being, controlled, and we have more power than we think. Like what would happen if everybody believed that? I think the world would become a much better place. People would take their power back. They would stop believing everything they hear. They'd start thinking for themselves again, right? And then we would have an age where we have nothing but solutions, solutions on top of solutions on top of solutions. There's a reason why we keep ending up with more problem after problem after problem. We're not, you know, because problems create more problems. And when you throw a bunch of shit at a problem, to patch it or cover it up or whatever, then you just create more problems. And you got to throw more shit at it. It doesn't make any sense. You got to prune the problems. You got to get rid of them, right? Eliminate the problems, okay? And we can eliminate these problems by spreading awareness to people, by, expanding their perception, expanding their awareness, expanding their, just their mindset, giving them some questions to ask for themselves, giving them some things to think about, right? I'm not telling them anything. I'm just asking the right questions. You know, why are people so afraid of questions? Questions are scary.
Jim Baker and Benny Hinn that are out, slapping people on the foreheads and telling them, the devil's been boiled out of them. They're just a bunch of hucksters. There are guys that are preying upon the sensitivities of individuals that feel very neglected. They're looking for anything in this world to hold on to. And they choose conspiracy theories, and these guys exploit the crap out of them. Alex Jones is the dude that makes millions of dollars a year off the paranoid delusions of people that really
Paranoid
want to have
delusions.
some sort of existential purpose to their lives. He's no different than the Jack Van Impies and who else? The Joel Osteens of the world. Actually, I know I feel like Joel Osteen, but I'll talk about that. So there you go. There's just nothing more than an existential excuse. Now, let's talk about why conspiracy theories are detrimental to society. First of all, you got to talk about the
Why are they detrimental to society? Okay, we're going to skip through some of this because you've heard it all before. You've heard it all before. But did you notice this? He not only went out of his way to make this video, but he literally is reading it. He's reading. He has it written down. He keeps looking down. See, this is probably one of the main reasons these people don't show their face, because people are bad actors, right? So if it's not genuine, it's not natural, and it's not genuine, like I said, it shows through. It shows right away. People can pick it out like a sore thumb. I mean, this guy especially. Why Nerve Girl would decide to show this guy, is beyond me. I I mean, does he really think that anybody agrees with this guy, or if they can't see that he's like reading from a script? So the fact that they all say these same things, right? This is the first time I've actually seen one of them actually reading it from a script, okay? But it's the same thing. They all say the same thing. So here's your evidence that it's literally part of a script, right? And it's designed, if you think about it, if you just use the skepticism, the skeptical mindset to think he's trying to influence you about certain things, right? So everything he says, just consider that he's trying to influence you of something, right? That's his purpose, right? Like a salesman or a whatever, or a lawyer in a courtroom. You know what I mean? That's why they say lawyers are all liars, right? So, and then you'll see what I see too if you don't already.
logical nature. They're very irrational. They're very ignorant. It's stretching the truth. It's promoting pseudoscience and pseudo social science over reality. That's bad. I don't even have to say that
I agree, that's bad.
really. But another thing is, you gotta remember, these really aren't productive people that we're talking about. These are people where, just in terms of economics, they never get real jobs. They never go to college because of a giant Illuminati conspiracy. And they rarely pay taxes because they never leave their parents' house. Now, of course, there are some successful conspiracy theorists out there, but seriously, if you do a social profile of them, these people are not really what you would call the poster boys. And it is a largely male dominated domain, I've noticed, which might be saying something as well. They're just not very successful people. And the more people you have believing in this stuff, the more marginalized, off the cusp, fringe people you'll have out there. And I think the entire economy as a whole suffers. Let's
Yeah, I mean, look at Andrew Tate, right? Right? He's just a nothing, nobody, never going to be anything. He's not successful, still living in his parents, right? Right? Isn't Andrew Tate, fit the bill what you just described? Oh wait, no, that's right. Andrew Tate is highly successful because very highly successful, uninfluential, uninfluenceable. Okay, he's unbent, unbroken. He's un immovable. He's non-conforming and not afraid to speak his mind. They've canceled him in every way, shape, or form that they can. The only thing left is to kill him. That's it. And there's countless examples of people throughout history that has happened to. And you look back at what they were saying and how they died and the details related to it, you know, and it becomes clear to anybody. You know what I mean? It's not conspiracy theorists do not hang on to these ideas because they seek approval or to be part of a group or anything. No, it's just because once they learn something, that's troubling to most people, then it's like an addiction. They look into stuff more and more. And the people that have actually looked into things more than most, they've had the time to look into things. This could be anybody. Anybody can do this if you just devote some time to looking into any of these subjects, that they deem conspiracy theories. Just take the time and look into these and do the research. You will come to the same conclusions. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? What the hell does that tell you? So if you argue that at all, I would just put it this way. So you want to claim that um, the people who have actually researched these subjects and spent more time than anybody, looking into it, right, and evaluating these subjects, those people you don't want to trust. You want to trust the people who haven't looked into anything, who don't care to ask any questions about everything, and who just want to slap a label on it and put it away and say, forget about it. That's who we need to trust, right? Really? For real? If you feel that way, then I feel bad. I feel so sorry for you.
So go back to promoting ignorance and refutation of real world dynamics. We're going to talk about that. But another thing that's really interesting to me is the whole social interaction disintegration going on here. If you look at these videos on YouTube, something very peculiar begins to become apparent. These are people that don't like to show their faces. They'll make like these really long, stupid, pointless, meandering, copyright infringing
Who is he talking about?
manifestos on Windows Movie Maker, but they won't actually do what I'm doing, where I'm looking you in the eye over the power of the internet and talking to you as an individual human being. That's called
Right, they
something
won't.
called de-individuation, which where they're losing themselves inside the giant social idea of this conspiracy theory.
Are
They're
they?
afraid to show their face. They're
Are they?
ashamed to be out in public. These
Really?
are people that have major self-esteem issues.
Really?
They're kind of afraid of their own individuality. And I think that's really bad because it's showing.
Is he literally, I mean, seriously, is he just describing himself or is he describing their gorilla? I can't tell. You know what I mean? because he certainly isn't describing all the targeted individuals I see on YouTube, because that they're literally the opposite of all those things.
Have a direct inability to communicate, and if you want to succeed in this world, you have to be able to communicate and talk to people and
Yeah,
interact and get ideas across. And when
yeah.
your entire premise for life is everyone's being controlled by Martians that are pointing laser guns at all of the people that run Fortune 500 companies, you're not going to
Wow.
be able to do a job interview. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And they're becoming a whole lot more technologically dependent, and once again, you're kind of losing a sense of their own humanity, and that's kind of a bad thing as well. And of course, the reality here, and let's just call it what it is, all these people have mental disorders. There are people, that
Boom,
are
there it
hyper
is.
paranoid, they have schizoid conditions, they have aggressiveness disorders, they have extreme depression. I'm not saying that all of them do, but if you set them down and you flipped open a copy of the DSM-5 and you started looking at their behaviors, and you started checking things off, you'd realize a lot of these people, they have some deep-seated psychiatric issues. And as we all know, if people don't get treated for those, bad things happen. So anyway, my conclusion of sorts here to this meandering, pointless video, which will have no effect on society whatsoever. I got this thing called the equation of doom. And that's when you have three components, you add them up, and you have really, really horrible social system results.
Boy, that's a really cool name you came up with there for your equation, buddy. The equation of doom. Dun 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 dun. Are you scared yet? It's the equation of doom. He came up with this one all by himself. So this is his improvisation to the script. Okay. And then I'm going to end with I have a very, very good question I need to ask.
Number one, you have to have a deep-seated animosity towards society. People that hate everything about modern culture and society. Conspiracy theorists do. You have to have hyper paranoia.
These are all stereotypes, and I haven't, they're all bullshit. They're all stereotypes that are not true at all. I mean, not in my case, and not in the majority of, I'll say targeted individuals. He'll call them conspiracy theorists, but not in the majority of TIs that I've looked at. No, they don't hate society at all. You rarely ever see them get aggressive or act out, but yet they're claiming that all these people are doing things against them, right? So I would argue that they have more patience than anybody. I don't know how you would argue. I don't know how you would argue against that. You see regular Karens in public all the time that get mad about the stupidest fucking shit. But it's somebody who's claiming to be, stalked, harassed, and fucked with 24/7. You rarely see any of these outbursts with them, right? Not certain ones do, but they're very few and far between.
An absolute disbelief in anything, or a belief in the incredibly absurd, complete rejection of reality. Conspiracy theorists have that. And of course,
Right,
you have to
right.
have a convenient scapegoat, which you use an excuse to go around doing really stupid, ill informed things. Not that conspiracy theorists have that in the New World Order. So once you add all these three things up, pardon me once again, those
It's the
the DARPA
equation.
radars hitting me again.
DARPA radar hitting them.
Once
Yeah.
you have all those three added up, I think you have a perfect mixture for people to either A, not do anything productive with their lives, or B, start doing things that are really destructive with the lives of others. So let's think
Why?
about it. Conspiracy theorists, there are a lot of
Wait, why? When you have people that have these things, you gotta connect it here, dude. Why are they gonna start doing things that are destructive to other people's lives? You just said that. That's all. What makes you think they're gonna do stuff that are just destructive to other people's lives? You know what I mean? They just say stuff, and people believe it, people buy it, and then people are stupid. You know what I mean? People are just fucking stupid. Let's just put it that way. But the important thing, the very last thing he says in this video is where I raise my question. So
them that are dangerous kooks. Guys like Jared Loeffner, the guy that put a bullet in Gabriel Gifford, Jewish can use this social interaction breakdown going on here. And should we give these people whose
Reading the
ideas are a
script again.
complete smash? And here's why. These are people that don't know what causation and correlation are. These are people that think that the Sandy Hook shooting is a conspiracy shooting, and there were, what is
Sandy
it,
Hook.
Singapore or is it Hong Kong? Absolutely zero connection to what they're actually talking about to believe that this grandiose thing happens. That's not just a sign of poor logic. That's a sign of cognitive development disorders, because even a 5-year-old can have a better sense of causation and correlation than that. So if you're doing that, if that's the kind of leap you're making, then you have some serious cognitive problems going on. So everything kind of gets, broken down into childish reductionism. We're adults, but we all act like children, and we believe childish things, and we use childish.
Right, right. Because I mean, let's be honest here. Let's speak the truth. Nerve Gorilla is the most mature, unchildish person that you'll ever hear on the internet, right?
Of logic and reasoning to, address things, which is always bad. And at worst, these guys just have full blown psychosis. I mean, really, they're probably one delayed rent payment away from being those guys on the street you see holding signs, yelling at people on bikes that JFK is still alive. And no, never mind the fact that the rest of society, does.
What if he is still alive? I don't fucking know. All I know is what I hear and what I've been told. I don't believe anything because I don't know. I don't have enough information on it yet. But I also am not going to go around arguing with people saying, no, he's not alive, because I don't know. I wasn't there. Were you there? Did you feel his pulse?
Even give these ideas any support whatsoever. Think about this. When you look at something like, say, the Sandy Hook shooting conspiracy that's orchestrated by Barack Obama to take away guns. Here's the thing: there isn't a single politician in Washington, not even the
Because they're the most reliable, trustworthy people you can ever you know cite as an example.
hardcore Tea Party people um, that think that's what happened.
See that
There
piece
are
of
no peer-reviewed journal articles or
oh,
academics in the
boom, there it is. Peer-reviewed journals, right? And they're peer-reviewed papers, right?
country, outside this one idiot in Florida, that thinks that's the case. There are no respectable media outlets or Fox News saying, hey, this is a conspiracy. So when you have no government documentation, no media documentation, no academic documentation, no documentation at all of what you're saying, and you claim it to be.
There's plenty of documentation on it. It's just you guys don't want to. You just don't want to review it, and you don't want to accept it. You just choose to ignore it. I can put a bunch of words on a piece of paper and call it a document, but as long as you guys continue to ignore it, right, and pretend it doesn't exist, then you won't acknowledge it and consider it documented. You know what I mean?
The truth when everyone else that has a whole lot more credibility than you doesn't. Do the math on why we don't believe you. And so to conclude, I know what you're thinking, but old Jimbo, isn't it important to ask questions?
Yeah,
And the answer
Jimbo.
is yes. It is very important questions, and you should question a whole bunch of
Okay.
things. Sorry, once again, DARPA radar. You should question everything.
Wait, what do you say? Something about DARPA radar again? I missed it.
Very important questions, and you should question a whole bunch of things. Sorry, once again, DARPA radar. You should question everything.
What? Did he just like twitch and blame it on I mean, is this his first attempt at acting or reading a script?
But there's not the most important thing that you can do. The most important thing you can do is not ask questions. What the most important thing you can do
What? 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 What?
is what you choose to believe to be the answers.
So you can tell he's reading a script. He read the words, but he read them wrong. You know what I mean? I think I understand what what he was trying to get across there, what the words were trying to express, but he just read it as if he said, you know, what you could do is not answer as questions. No, he's saying the most important thing that you could do is not, you know, asking questions, but it's doing this.
So yeah, it's important to ask questions, but I think it's even more important considering the answers that you accept
Right.
to be
I
the
agree.
case.
I agree. Okay. So let's touch on that now, right? You notice how he positioned the camera so that it's just below his eyes. I think he planned on doing that so that you didn't see him looking down at the script so much. Because why wouldn't he just adjust the damn camera if he can see himself? I don't think he's looking at himself very much. He's looking at the. He's trying not to look at the words too much. You know, he's trying to fool the viewer into thinking it's genuine or something. It's absolutely not fucking genuine. A 4-year old can see that. You know, and if you think he's being genuine at all and not reading from a script, then I fear that you suffer from cognitive development, you know, mentality issues, mental illness, you know. Anyway, this is my question, okay? So Nerd Girl put this out. Yeah, haha, funny, whatever. He's not going to influence anybody by it, but he did me a favor by bringing up a very good point. Now here's my point. So, you know, the very last thing he talks about is the importance of asking questions and the dangers of choosing not to accept what you learn when you don't like the answers that you get. And I can't argue with that logic one bit. Not one bit. It's very important to ask questions, and it's very important to, you know, consider all the answers you're going to get and not denying certain things that don't fit your narrative, right? But that brings up an even more important question that I have, and this is a big one, real big one, okay? What am I supposed to think when I ask my questions, right? And the very same people that were always so quick to provide an answer to my questions are now choosing not to answer my questions. They literally pretend like I never asked it to begin with by, you know, either they'll change the subject or they'll deflect it by answering my question with their own question back to me. It's unrelated at all, and it's like an attack on, you know, they try to attack something and escalate the conversation, you know, and provoke like an aggressive manner. So why does that happen? Why do they do that, right? Why aren't any peers reviewing my questions and writing their critically acclaimed papers, you know, so that I know whose answers to trust and whose answers not to trust? I certainly can't trust everyone when I get conflicting answers to nearly every one of my questions, right? So these are the red flags that I'm choosing not to deny. And it seems like this question alone, this one single question, has the power to tell a person everything they need to know when it comes to certain topics, you know, to questions that haven't yet been answered, pretty much. You know, I'm not going to label these subjects that are literally in question. It's the people that are choosing to ignore my questions that like to label everything, you know, and are choosing to call them conspiracy theories when they're not able to debunk, you know, the subject, or they're not able to answer the right questions, you know, that people have figured out to ask. So you can't you can't deny these situations. There's a lot of questions, right? That they'll will get ignored and nobody wants to focus on them, right? They want to ignore these questions. Okay, I got a whole fucking bunch of them. I've asked a lot of questions over the last 3 or 4 years that I can't seem to get an answer to, right? Just everybody just pretends they didn't hear it at all. Nobody answers it at all. But if by God I'm just wrong about something and I ask a question, you'll get a dozen people in the comments section that are fucking Johnny on the spot, quicker than shit to tell you, that you're wrong about something and give you the right answer, which is awesome. I love that. I love YouTube comment section is great for that. But what about these situations when you ask a question, right? And not only do you not get an answer, the person who's supposed to have all the answers, right? But they go silent, right? They go radio silent, you hear crickets, and you also get other people um, that comment, in addition to that, and they chime in. They're like, yeah, yeah, that's a good point. So it's not just you, right? Then you get more people asking that same question, and yet it still gets ignored, still gets denied. Okay, there's lots of these conspiracy theory videos online, and you go in the comments section, stuff that's been known to be conspiracy theories. You look at the comments, right, and people explain for the less naive, or for the less educated people, for the more naive people. There's people in the comments that will very kindly, very helpful, like explain to them, you know, what the real truth is and what reality is. And then that way they don't end up falling into the conspiracy theory too, because it's not right, everybody. And there are subjects like that. But you'll see that if you look in the comments section. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Okay. You'll even see some of that on the conspiracy theory videos, but it's not hard to pick out the people that are doing it, that are just going in there making up lies on purpose just to influence people, right? Just you got to listen to people's testimonies. Make the judgment for yourself. Don't listen to people like this that are telling you anybody with conspiracy theory is this kind of person, right? Because what were we always taught, right? That you don't judge a book by its cover, right? So why would you do that with a person? You wouldn't do it with a book, right? You wouldn't judge a book by its cover or the title. Why would you do that to a person? So that they put labels on somebody and they try to create an image in your head about somebody. They're literally trying to give you the cover, to judge, just so that you can judge that person by their outside appearance and by what others say and tell you, right? No, you gotta read that book yourself. You gotta, ask that person questions yourself. Don't rely on answers you hear from other people. Okay, that is the main thing that's plaguing society today, is that people just believe what they're told instead of looking into things themselves. And unfortunately, there are a lot of lazy, stupid people. Unfortunately, so help them out. You know who they are. Everybody's got people around them that are stupid and lazy, and you could influence them just as easy as the next guy could. So why don't you help them out? Help them out. You know, just don't tell them things and show them things. You know, bring up a conversation and then ask the right questions, right? Ask them the right questions. You know they don't have the answer, but you already know what the answer is. But you ask them the right questions, and what you'll see happen is you'll see the gears turning. You'll see the light bulb pop on. You'll see the the literally you'll see them come to life, and you'll see them actually using their brain. It's an amazing thing that happens. You'll see them come to like an epiphany right in front of you, right before your eyes, and you'll see something amazing happen. You'll see them literally get smarter, okay? Because they've expanded their awareness by expanding their their open-mindedness, by expanding their perception, by giving them more to look at, more to look into, and they're not stuck in the mud, you know. It's like you show them that there's much, much more, and it's not as simple as black or white and mentally ill or not mentally ill. Sorry, it's not as simple as that. And unfortunately, when you ask the right questions about people's motives, if you question everybody's motives before you just blindly trust what they say, you'll you'll protect yourself from a lot of the disinformation. You know, just ask yourself. If somebody tells you something, right? Just ask yourself, why are they telling me that? You know what I mean? What made them go out of their way and tell me that? Like what made this guy right here go out of his way to make this video and actually read it from a script? It's like homework or something. You know what I mean? He's not gonna get any clout from this. He's not gonna get any fans from this. He's definitely not gonna get. It's not gonna go viral. I promise you that. You know, he's gonna get nothing but dissent and people ridiculing him, making fun of him, and he has to know that he looks like a retard. And he chose to show his face, thinking that that was going to be the deal breaker. Oh, I'm going to show my face. Look, I showed my face. See, I showed my face. So I must be telling the truth. See, look at my face. Read this script to you. It just so happens that it's the same exact fucking talking points that they all use. All of them. Peer-reviewed papers, right? Mental illness, danger to society, right? And then these these people, oh, you don't want to associate with these people. They're scum. They're immature. They're beneath you, right? And there's only a couple of them. There's only a couple of them. There's really not a lot of them. I promise. So don't, just trust me on that, right? So all you got to do is say, why are people going so far out of their way to try to convince everybody that certain conspiracies are bullshit? Why, if they actually are bullshit, then the truth will sort itself out, right? It, you don't need, it doesn't need your help influencing anybody to not look into it. You know what I mean? They're free to make their own judgments, dude. So it's just funny when I see people do this. So, like I said, you don't want to deny this. I just have this main question. What am I supposed to do when I ask a question and it gets ignored? It just gets ignored. And I ask again and it just gets ignored again. That raises a lot of red flags and it raises into question everything that person ever told you beforehand. Was anything that they told me true? Can I believe anything that they say? Because now they won't answer this question. Why is that? Why are they so afraid to answer this question? They could say, I don't know. They could just say, I don't know, right? Well, what's so wrong with saying, I don't know? It's okay to admit when you don't know something, but no, that's not what they do, you know? And that pretty much should tell anybody everything you need to know right there. Okay, so for anybody who's, new to the game, a little naive, maybe you're in your early 20s or something and you're just, this is kind of an advanced level of thinking and awareness and enlightenment compared to the masses, compared to the general public. You really do got to do a lot of research to get to this point where you're confident and like what I'm telling you is it's laughable because I can tell you without a doubt with confidence that what I talk about is 100% real. And there are a bunch of people that are going out of their way to try to convince you that I'm crazy and that it's not real. Okay, that's true. You can't deny that. That is true. I have so many things that you can't deny. All that I'm asking is not to ignore them. Just don't ignore them. And if I ask a question and can't get an answer to, do me a favor, ask it for me. Ask it again. Repeat the question. And if we all just keep repeating these questions, sooner or later somebody's going to have to answer for something, right? They're going to have to answer for something. These are the people that like to get on pedestals and feed you your information. So if everybody just starts asking the right questions, then we'll fix the problem, right? Because they'll have to either tell us or they'll just go run and hide because they know they can't answer the questions. Because the question itself is scary for them. The question itself, does a lot. It speaks for itself, right? Somebody's reaction, somebody's body chemistry, and their reaction to a question can give you way more information and way more answers than anything they say. Okay, and so like I said, what people don't say, what people refuse to say, says a whole lot more than what they are saying. So with that, be good or be good at it.
Right.